Solar funds and asset managers will usually either develop or acquire a project at shovel ready, and then they will interact with what's known as an EPC contractor, an engineering, procurement and construction contractor, who will build the solar farm itself. Pre-construction information is shared with the EPC to enable them to provide a commercial offer to build the solar farm. Solar funds and asset managers will then employ a technical advisor to carry out the technical due diligence process, and following this they will be able to sign off the site as ready to build. Within the UK at least, we need to apply the CDM regulations, and there's three main roles here, which is the client, the principal designer and the principal contractor. Usually the EPC will take on the principal contractor role, and it's their responsibility to develop construction phase plans, environmental management plans, traffic management plans, and these types of health and safety related and organisational management documentation to ensure that this site can be constructed to a high standard. At this stage, a formal F10 submission can be put into the Health and Safety Executive to make sure that they know that a substantial project is going on in a particular location within the UK. New build on greenfield sites will usually establish themselves with some sort of compound, which is offices, welfare facilities, and storage facilities, where the site project team can mobilise and get prepared for construction. Once all of the infrastructure, resources and systems are in place, the site team can mobilise and start the process of building a solar farm. The general sequence of a build varies from project to project, but in most cases you start off with access tracks on site, getting those installed so you can travel around site, then on to piling and mounting structure construction. Modules are then installed and the DC system then is installed behind it. Following that, you have the AC system and inverters, and moving on to HV equipment. There's also other auxiliary systems such as fencing, CCTV and monitoring systems which need to be installed, and these can be done at the end or as part of the construction programme. Once all of the electrical systems are installed and commissioned, there'll be a series of tests and sign-offs in that particular area. But of course then you'll have other things to do once most of the construction phase is over, and this might include land remediation, landscaping, deployment. It could be wildflower meadows to sow and other landscape and ecological measures to be deployed. Typically the EPC will take on a 2-year operations and maintenance contract as part of their obligations, and within these 2 years there's usually 3 main milestones. The first one is PAC, PAC, Provisional Acceptance Certificate. Secondly, you have IAC, which is Intermediate Acceptance Certificate, and finally you have FAC, which is Final Acceptance Certificate. These processes that an EPC needs to go through, usually with a technical advisor, will ensure that the site is performing as designed, all suitable documentation is in place, and eventually at FAC the site can be handed back to the site owner and the EPC walks on to his next project. So EPC construction standards have completely transformed over the last few years, particularly in the UK. In the early days, and we can see some of the conditions of the site now through poor levels of construction management. Nowadays things are done a lot more professionally, and it's saving asset owners millions in the longevity of their site and the compounding effects of high quality management services.